Welcome back to Mainstream PC everyone, my name is Julian and in this video I will be showing off my build for July 2020. As usual with my monthly builds, there's a theme to it. We will be talking about that a little bit later though. I'll be showing off the components, then you'll be able to see the build in time-lapse, and later on in the video you'll find the outro where I just show the machine running and give it a little bit of a showcase. First of all, this month I don't have any used components like I usually do. There's partially a reason to it. Not only is the used market pretty dry right now thanks to the global situation, but also I really wanted to have something that is all in warranty, all new. So let's start with the CPU. I went with a RYZEN 7 3700X this month. 8 cores, 16 threads, Zen 2 architecture. Pretty much not much to say about this one. It's a 2CCX design, so it's got the usual Ryzen quirks with inter-CCX latency and me usually wanting to run the I/O die, the Infinity Fabric at 1800 megahertz, which immediately brings me over to my RAM, which is a kit from HyperX, or from Kingston actually, HyperX Fury. Simple kit, no RGB, affordable, and it's a 3200 megahertz kit at CL16. So my plan is to run it at 3600 megahertz with CL18, which I've already had these components or most of them on my bench. I can tell you it will overclock to that speed, stable. We're going to be sticking these items onto the B450 Plus tough game, or let me rephrase that. The ASUS tough B450 Plus gaming, let's stick to the right nomenclature, which is a pretty decent B450 board. Why did I choose this one? I could have chosen a Tomahawk or any of the other B450 boards that I've used before. This one has decent VRMs, not the best. It's the feature set is pretty simple. I think it's only one M.2 slot. Other than that, where is it 2? No, it's one M.2 slot. And other than that, it's a regular B450 board. Really, there's a little bit I was interested in just using a different B450 for a change, one that I haven't worked with before. I'm usually very interested in how well RAM behaves on different B450 boards, so it's partially the reason. And it was sort of on sale. I got it for a decent price. Let's put it that way. Other than that, we also have some storage. We have a 500 gigabyte SN550 from Western Digital, from their blue line. I would never go with green with Western Digital because those drives are really cheapest components that you can get, and the NAND flash in there apparently wears out very fast. But for DRAM-less SSDs, the SN500 was already good, and now they refreshed the blue line of NVMe M.2 SSDs with the SN550, and I've read great things about it because it's got, I think it's got SLC cache, and just the controller is doing a really good job at making this not feel like a DRAM-less SSD. I generally would say go for an SSD with DRAM cache. It's the safest route, but apparently this one delivers and is quite a bit cheaper than most other DRAM or SSDs that have a DRAM cache, let's put it that way. For GPU, we went with something very nice. It's a RTX 2070 Super from ASUS, their ROG Strix card. The advanced edition, I think there's like 3 different editions, like the standard, the advanced, and then the OC edition. So this one falls in the middle of the pack when it comes to out of the box boost clock. Shouldn't really matter because anyone who can operate MSI Afterburner will get more performance out of it anyway. So honestly, this was the one available out of the 3 for a good price. So that's what I went with. 2070 Super is a very good card. And now that DLSS 2.0 is actually decent, there is a value argument to be made for getting an RTX card. Obviously for certain games, but it's becoming more and more. And DLSS is getting better and better. So I'm quite excited to see what this thing can do. I mean, I've seen benchmarks online, obviously, and I know it's outperforming my 1080 Ti, for example, in most newer titles. But yeah, generally, I'm quite ecstatic. It's a really, really nice card. Can't wait to open it because I actually haven't had this on my test bench yet. It's still sealed. And then we have power delivery. So before I talk too much in detail about this, again, the global situation right now makes 2 items rather hard to come by. It's motherboards, they're running low on those, and it's power supplies. Normally for a build of this magnitude, like with a 3700X and a 2070 Super, I'd be looking at a 80 plus bronze rated, also 650 watt power supply, but I just couldn't find anything for a reasonable price, and I was really not willing to overspend. So instead what I did is I spent a little bit of time online and I researched some of the units that were available. There were Cooler Master MWEs or Elite, no, not Elite. There were a few units in this price range that were all also just 80 plus white, not bronze, and had a similar feature set like no modularity and stuff like that. So this is a Thermaltake TR2 S, 650 watt, 80 plus white rated power supply. No modularity as said, and what was important to me though were 2 things. It's a single 12 volt rail. I'm big on that. And it's got good ripple control. Oh, actually 3 things. It's got good ripple control, so despite its maybe shortcomings in some technical aspects, it's not running anywhere near maximum spec of ATX. I think maximum spec of ATX for 12 volt is 120 millivolts. In all the reviews I've read about this, the ripple on the 12 volt rail anywhere up to 600 watts is under 80 millivolts. So it's not going to kill your components, at least not from ripple. So I'm happy with that. And the third thing that I'm also big on is protections. So it's got overvolt, overcurrent, overpower protections. So I think most everything that you'd want and that you'll also see in most 80 plus bronze rated power supplies. So that's basically what I was looking for while still maintaining a decent price, because as supplies run short in power supplies, all the vendors are of course turning up their prices because business is bad, the economy is bad, people spend less, fewer people buy items, and then when they make sales, they can't go on too low margin. I understand that, and if something's in hot demand, it's easy to push the prices up and still sell units. So I just wasn't willing to accept that, and despite the current situation, I just had to downgrade the power supply a little bit, but I think it will still do a perfectly fine job for this build. And now to the star of the show, the one that I've been alluding to in a few videos already. I've been wanting to build in this case for almost half a year now, since I first saw it online in a review. I'm not going to lift the box up. You're going to see the case later. It's the Lian Li Lancool II. It's an incredible case, has dual hinge tempered glass windows, has a PSU shroud that you can flip down, so you can work in it and flip it up again, you don't notice it. It has covers for the back cable management on the behind the motherboard tray. It's got everything, literally everything a PC builder would want. It's got an RGB front that is meshed, but it's how would I explain? It's not fans that shine through. It's got its own RGB. The front comes off without any cabling. They just got like little contact points. So it's a very, very easy to work in case just from looking at it. So I'm really ecstatic to finally be able to build in it myself. So I'm very much looking forward to that, which also brings me to my theme for this build. Since it's a build that's gonna hit exactly when most countries have their summer holidays, and it's gonna be in a Lancool II, I decided to call it 2cool4skool. As with most of my builds, I'm probably not gonna keep it. I'm gonna sell it off. So I hope somebody gets this 2cool4skool build and enjoys their summer vacation or summer holiday, being able to play pretty much any game at 1440p at really nice frame rates, or at 1080p at extreme frame rates with this card. So yeah, that's it for the intro. Let's get into the build, and I'll see you in the outro. And we're back, everyone. This build was such a treat, and that's largely attributed to the Lancool II case, because honestly, this is a PC builder's dream, in my opinion. The feature set, the quality of the material, the materials you get, all the options that you have in this case. And I didn't use any of them. I didn't mount any SSDs or anything, or hard drives, any of that stuff. But the cable management alone, how easy it is to hide ugly cables, and the shrouds that cover like the bottom, like you don't have to do any cable management on that side, on the bottom at all, because you can't see it. And then the top is pristine because it's covered by the panels. So if you have like I don't know, the side glass window, I don't really feel like you need a second window. But some people like to use RGB SSDs nowadays, so those would shine through. So that would be nice. I wouldn't recommend using RGB SSDs though, especially not on that side of the case, because without airflow, those things do suffer quite substantial performance hits. But that aside, back to the case, the hinges, the way you can remove everything, it's unbelievable. And what really, really makes my head spin is the price point. That you can get this feature set, this quality, like the sheet metal is rigid, there's no sharp edges, nothing, everything, the tooling must be, I don't know how Lian Li does it, how they manage to keep it at this price point, but they really hit it out of the park. Like in almost, 20 years now that I've been, over 20 years now that I've been building PCs, this is probably the most fun case I've ever worked in. Like the easiest to work in case. Hands down, bar none. It's incredible. I'm completely ecstatic, and I mean I love building PCs. Usually there's something that's like finicky or hard to deal with or whatever, but this was super smooth. Even like, okay, I changed the fan position with my motherboard. I had a few hiccups. Let's talk about it real quick. First of all, I thought I had addressable RGB header on this motherboard. Apparently I'm wrong. It's 12 volt, 4 pin. So it's only RGB header, not ARGB header. Must have misread that. Doesn't really matter though. I don't have any ARGB fans or anything else in this case. And the front panel can be controlled through a little controller that is built into the I/O, or in the front I/O. So we'll see that in a second. I didn't fire it up yet, so I hope it's working. I hope I plugged everything correctly. That's a big if. Then there's the header positioning, the fan header positioning on this motherboard. It's got two in the back and one towards the front headers, plus the CPU and CPU2 header. But I really didn't want the top exhaust like it was originally installed, because this has almost unrestricted airflow, the exhaust, but the intakes aren't completely unrestricted. I don't know if you can see it, but the front here has a little bit of a mesh behind it. And one fan positive pressure versus two exhausts would have led to negative pressure anyway, so I wanted a positive pressure situation, at least a small positive pressure situation. So I put two in the front, one in the back, have a pretty straightforward path. And but unfortunately, in order to do that, I had to route one of the cables pretty much along the graphics card towards that second fan header in the back. But to be honest, you can't see it. The same thing with the RGB controller for the Wave Prism cooler from the R7 3700X. in order to have the cool effects, there's an ARGB header. Again, I don't have an ARGB header, so it wouldn't have been an option anyway to sync with the motherboard. But there is a USB header, so it needs an internal USB 2 port. So I had to route that behind the graphics card as well, make it go near the chipset and down to that header. So there's a little bit of cabling there. But as you might have also seen, I have put electrical tape, black electrical tape around the ketchup and mustard cables from the power supply. It's a budget unit, and it's not uncommon that there's heat shrink and then there you still have the exposed colored cables. So easy solution and cheap solution is just electrical tape, consumer grade, perfectly fine. And I also like to hide like some of the front I/O, like the audio header, also had some color showing, and even the graphics card, the Strix, I think it's RGB cable. Oh no, it's not the RGB cable, it's a fan cable. I think it was 4 links though. Might have been the RGB one, doesn't really matter. Oh, that was showing as well, and it was quite bright and colorful, so I didn't really like that, taped that up as well. Basically taped everything that was yellow, green, blue, red, whatever, other color than black, just to make it more uniform. And what else? Was there anything particular about the build other than the header positioning? No, other than that, it was super smooth. I don't know if the camera really picked it up with the cable management in the back. Very easy. The HDD caddy, the drive. 1 second, this magnet's very strong. The hard drive cage, sorry. It's on almost like rails, like there's 2 lanes in here. You just remove 1 screw, amazing, and you move it like a thumb screw as well, so you can just do it on the fly if you want to. So you have more space for a front radiator if you're gonna install one. Absolutely fantastic. The whole thing is so well thought out, sorry for that, that I'm still baffled. But I think now is the moment of truth. Let me, of course, hit the switch here. Okay, we got some lights. That's a good sign for now. Ooh. Damn, is that the graphics card hitting the fan so hard? Straight off the bat? It is. It's not the brief. Am I getting a video? Oh, yes, boot loop. Yeah, there we go. Okay, new configuration. I can't see, I'm sorry. Let's see what we got here. If I can read it at all. Yeah, RYZEN 7 3700X, and my memory is detected. Of course, running at JEDEC standard 2400 megahertz, but we will be changing that. So that's pretty much it for this build. Oh wait, let me actually have a look at. So this is the mode button, I guess. Yeah. That's a nice RGB right there. And then there's a color button. So modes is like rainbow wave and God knows what else, mirage effects. And then you got solid color cycle on the other button. That's nice. Yeah, even with solid colors. But let's go for a rainbow wave. Unicorn puke. Alright, I think there's not really much more to say. I've praised the hell out of this case already. Next video will be benchmarks, because I haven't run the entire hardware configuration with the graphics card like this yet. So I'm quite interested to see what this puppy will do at 1440p. I think it will cream my 1080 Ti. Not by much, but a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't sort of like make any mistakes according to you. If you didn't like a particular part of the video, please let me know in the comments. I'm glad to hear any feedback. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Sharing helps me out the most. If you have anyone who's interested in tech and PC building and anything related to PC gaming or whatever, share this video with them. See, maybe they'll like it. It would help me out a lot. Just as a heads up, my next monthly build will probably be in a smaller form factor. I'm not sure if it's going to be an ATX build yet or an mini ITX, one of the two. So I'll look forward to that. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. This was Julian with Mainstream PC. Hope to see you again next time. Cheers!